From the center of Newport Street to the back of the Edward B. N. Kessley Barracks that host the Ministry of Defense, there is one sewer line that exposes many residents and passers-by to health hazards. It is the Sanitation sewer, an underground rectangular channel about 450 meters long that leads to the Atlantic Ocean. This sewer carries rubbish, plastic and clothes like a deep underground trash system in the capital city of Africa's oldest state, Liberia. Sanitation is also named after one of the many slum communities in Monrovia, a city that had about 150,000 inhabitants prior to the country's civil conflict, but now hosts over 1.5 million people. Recently, the head of the European Union delegation in Liberia, Ambassador Laurent Delahousse, said Monrovia is the dirtiest city of the many places he has visited in his work in Africa, a statement he thereafter retracted.
In my previous postings in Africa, I have not seen one that is as dirty as yours.
In 2017, the UN Children's Fund UNICEF carried out research on water supply and sanitation in Liberia. It found that there are only 724 household sewer connections in Monrovia. 15% of households are connected to the septic tanks. Families here, they have adapted to the odor of the sewer, but there are many issues they must deal with. Susanna Morba is a food seller. For 30 years, she has been cooking near this sewer line, and despite the economic crisis, she must stick to a specific price. She says cleaning the sewer is difficult.
They can buy about the food in the market. All one and they put saying 200 as on 250. But then for the unit business, that was saying they 124. So my own more people passing, they can be talking about the unit business. Before born over here, because they can't clean it. So the dead are inside, it's smelling to get ratty. And nobody to clean it.
In this community, there are health facilities. We paid a visit to understand what the health complications and life-threatening conditions are like as Liberia battles the fourth wave of COVID-19. Nathan Sumo says malaria and typhoid are the regular cases the facility must treat.
Mosquitoes' breeding area is the water, the drainage system that here. You see, the dwellers that are around here, we that live around here, especially at night time, you see that mosquito enter the people's homes. It's a health hazard for the people in this country. Malaria is deadly. And look at the kind of community that we are living. Look at the kind of people that live around here. Some not even able to afford. Right now, even if you look at our chart, you will see malaria will be dominating. See the kind of cockroaches around here from the dye. And the rats, you know what I'm saying? They give people typhoid and all those kind of things. So to really conclude, Monrovia is dirty.
Monrovia has hardly any waste management. This, along with a lack of proper toilets, many household trash, human feces, and hazardous medical waste are randomly disposed of throughout the city. In some areas, swelling to piles large enough to block roads. The collection and removal of garbage from peak points in and around the city poses serious hazards and hurdles to citizens. Asatu Kamara and Masa Vani live in West Point, one of the communities battling with poor sanitation. They say people defecate in the open. There are also public bathrooms near the river. But even while they are accustomed to this situation, Asatu says the pollution in the community has consistently exposed her family to illnesses like cholera.
He stopped the people to not throw their ball. You not get no place to throw there, no place to toilet. So got to have the sea river to be bathroom to toilet. We not get place to take bath. We can eat right here because we are African. We not get place to. You can't carry in the room either. The bathroom, the sink can come here. They want send. We not get place to work. We not get place to eat. So we can sit down right here and eat. We can dry the flour. We are the one not there. Our aunts see it. They eat it.
Ibrahim lives closer to the Mensurado River, where residents pour dirt in the river. He says there have been engagements with residents to desist, but it is difficult to do. He wants a ban on plastic in Liberia.
Many times my children said I got sick from it. Try hard to see how best we can take the dirt from here. But every time we try to clean the dirt, still the people bring dirt. Sometimes we lock the gate, or we lock our gates. Sometimes they pour the dirt right in front of our gate. We wake up in the morning, we see the dirt there, we're forced to clean it. And stop people from throwing dirt on the dump site. They stopped them before. They even put a sample on every dump site, but nobody should dump dirt. But they didn't stay. People still don't see some of the things that we're talking about. We see some of the plastic there. As we're sitting there, you see the people breaking dirt already. So we can't stop them. When we try to stop them, our parents will come and beg and start talking to us. For me, I just want for the government to just stop plastic there in this country. When we deal with paper, it will be better than plastic.
In 2017, Liberia passed the Fishery Act to combat the plastic problem. But despite this, the land is full of plastic and sewer pollution. Fishmongers in West Point say the plastic pollution is a problem of increasing concern. And even as late as last year, Liberia endorsed a historic resolution seeking to forge a legally binding agreement to combat plastic pollution worldwide at the United Nations Environment Assembly in Nairobi, Kenya this year. But Margaret Beslow is the Assistant Manager for Environmental Research and Standards of the EPA, the agency tasked with monitoring and combating environmental pollution in Liberia.
What has not been done is enforcement. You know, there are laws on the books. It does not mean people just think that Liberia, we don't have laws. We have. There are laws governing everything that we do. So the policies need to be in place. The enforcement needs to be also on point. Okay, and if these things are done, we know that we can move forward. And the government also need to make sure that the entities that are responsible to do these things have the necessary support. It comes to waste, it comes to sewage, it's overwhelming. And so entities are working, but it seems like nothing is going on. But I want to call on the water and sewer that will be able to beef up their effort through the government, that maybe they can ask for more funding so that they can be able to do their work. Because sometimes I want to recommend that citizens should start with separation of waste. You separate your waste, you set the plastic aside, set the perishable waste aside. This is something that every community should be able to do. Then we can be able to control the plastic waste. And the government also, those laws that we have on the book, they should be able to enforce it.
In a study conducted by the Emergency Monrovia Urban Sanitation Project in collaboration with the Municipal Corporation in Monrovia, the amount of solid waste generated in the city was reported as 780 tons per day, with an average waste generation of 0.63 kg capita a day. This was in 2017, but Green Cities wants the polluter paid policy to be reviewed.
We have limited policy. I can tell you, as tend to be corrected, Liberia does not have a national waste management policy that is being clearly passed into law. I have not seen one. If there is one, I really want to learn about it.
The national budget allocated over $4 million to the Monrovia City Corporation, an increase of over $2 million of what they received last budget year. The European Union is one of the biggest investors in Liberia's solid waste management sector, investing €5 million in the Greater Monrovia area. The money provides support to community-based enterprises and organizations. In order to avert a future outbreak of diseases, Liberia must endeavor to achieve Target 3 of the Sustainable Development Goals, which seeks to achieve the improvement of water quality by reducing pollution, eliminating dumping, and minimizing the release of hazardous chemicals and materials, among others. Meanwhile, the municipal solid waste management sector of Liberia is faced with immense challenges and growing concerns regarding the inadequacies of waste management activities in the country. There is a need to promote and improve sanitation solutions in urban areas, as construction of public toilets alone will not mitigate the high feces contamination of groundwater in shallow wells used by the majority of the city's residents. More in general, it is hard to tell how the government and citizens will curb the wave of pollution in the odious country capital's city, Monrovia.